one of the fastest growing insurance agencies in the southern U.S. Representing over 100 insurance carriers, they're large enough to find you the best deal, but still able to provide that personal touch. Call Thomas Email today at 225-206-1517.
If you've been injured, it doesn't matter if you were hit by a big truck, a smart car, or anything in between. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12671. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Sandegriff.
And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Sandegriff, Mario Jerez, and Jacob Beck with you here this afternoon. Scott Rabley in about 15 minutes. He is at Augusta National. You know, Nance's got a good gig, but Rabelais' gig doesn't suck either. He went from the women's Final Four, pretty much straight to Augusta. Masters Par 3 tournament getting underway, the coverage of it getting underway. They've redone the Par 3 course, and, of course, tomorrow the big tournament starts. We'll have plenty from Rab on that, plus the women's Final Four. We'll do first class, second class, and no class at the bottom of the hour, brought to you by Supreme Rice. We start at the blender last night, and the 121-103 loss by the Pelicans to the Sacramento Kings. Mario, yesterday we talked about this a little bit because you did the game last night in Spanish. You've got the rest of the schedule in Spanish, so you've been down there for this winning streak. The ones that have been at home. And you've seen it. You thought yesterday that this was going to be really tough because Sacramento was coming off of an embarrassing loss to Portland. Embarrassing because Portland has basically given up the ghost on the rest of their season. They have sat all of their regulars, save maybe Shaden Sharp, who was a lottery pick a year ago, and they were not that their seeding is in jeopardy or likely to bounce. Just that from a personal standpoint, they went out and got beat by a G League team. Sorry, that's what Portland is right now. And they were steamed, and it showed right from jump last night.
Yeah, it's a long season, and they want to be playing their best basketball going into the playoffs. And after that loss that you mentioned, Mike Brown lit into them pretty good. They wanted to go on the road and get a win against a team they knew had been playing really well, and they really brought it to the Pelicans. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, all the shooters they have. Keegan Murray already broke the NBA record for most threes in a season by a rookie. So that's a strong team over there in Sacramento.
This is ultimately what the games like this, in my opinion, are what the front office is going to have to address in the offseason, because these games, the Pelicans simply don't have enough firepower to win games like this if a team is going to shoot the way Sacramento shot last night. They made 17 threes. And New Orleans simply can't. I mean, New Orleans shot 23s. And I'm not Captain Analytics by any stretch of the imagination that you have, if you don't shoot 16.4 threes per game, then you have no chance to win. But when you get a team that is rolling and Sacramento has done some really historic things offensively this year with some of the analytics that you look at. But you don't have to be an analytics guy to know that if you make 17 threes and you shoot 41% from three-point range, well, the other team's going to really have to do something to beat you, and they didn't. Brandon Ingram, who has been maybe the best player going for the last 2 weeks in the league. I don't know that anybody's been any better than him. Turned the ball over 7 times last night. That was just one of the things that came out of this game. Willie Green on the loss to the Kings.
And give them the credit. They lost a tough game on their home floor to San Antonio. We knew that they were going to come in with the mindset that they have to get one, and they did what they needed to do to win tonight. And this is a game where we just have to be better. There's no excuses. Same thing I told our guys. We've worked extremely hard over the last 7, 8 games, what have you. put ourselves in a position to, have a longer season, and we can't have games like this.
There's only maybe one thing we could get into X's and O's about Green's rotations and some of the things that they've done offensively, and I know he's got his critics out there, and I think some of that is warranted. But if I had one thing that I would have asked Willie Green, with the truth serum, because I know what he's going to say publicly, I know what he needs to say publicly, but at 9 minutes to go last night, you're down 16, okay? Your chances of winning at that point are pretty slim. It took him a long time to get the starters out. And I only mention it because it's back-to-back. And look, I hate load management worse than anybody, but we're not talking about guys just sitting out a game because they didn't feel like playing. We're talking about these are crucial games, every single one of them, and you're down 16 in your building with 9 minutes to go, and you're simply not going to outscore the Sacramento. I know what he would say publicly probably, which was, hey, listen, we're trying to win every game. We're going to put our best players out there. But at some point, this is like using your best relief pitcher when you're down 5 runs, okay? There's no need to waste him at that point. I would have liked, with the back-to-backs and Memphis coming in tonight, I would have liked to have seen him empty the bench a little bit earlier than he did. That's, what else can you do? I do know that if the Pels are going to get, make any headway in the playoffs, and we'll go through the standings here in a minute, but they're one game, magic number 1, to clinch at least the play-in. So you win tonight, you will be playing postseason basketball of some sort. They're going to need Trey Murphy to shoot the ball the way he has shot the ball during much of this streak, and he talked a little bit after the game about what they need to do to improve offensively.
I feel like, a lot of teams are figuring out the scouting reports out, don't leave me, and, send doubles at BI and CJ and make other people, make plays. And so what we had to do is just, continue to get creative, continue to just figure out different ways to, move the ball. I think our pace was something that was off too, so that's on us as players. We got to have a lot of pace when we're coming out of those corners, we're running different plays, and just be locked in because, pace can eliminate a lot of different stuff.
Murphy's going to be key. We're supposed to get an update on Zion today. If they say 2 weeks and we're going to reevaluate, I'm just going to throw something. But I think what you can count on him is limited, if any. I was a little surprised that they didn't shut him down for the season. Throwing him back, and if he does come back, we'll get into that later, but throwing him back into playoff intensity basketball in game 1 is, in my opinion, risky. But que sera. Trey Murphy, I know, is going to play, and I know that they need. So they're still in 8th place. They are a half game ahead of the Timberwolves for 9th place. That's significant. They're a game behind the Lakers for 7th place, which means that right now nobody's in the Victor sweepstakes, but that obviously could change. They are a game and a half behind Golden State and it's the same game behind the Clippers, who have got the same record but have the tiebreaker on the Lakers, and they're a game and a half behind Golden State. In the other direction, they're a half game up on Minnesota, and they're 2.5 games up on OKC. The Dallas Mavericks are probably not going to make the play-in. Well, they're half game out, I shouldn't say. Maybe they catch Oklahoma City. Maybe Kyrie and Luka figure it out in the last 2 games. Who knows? But you're in a position where you're going to be playing postseason basketball if you just win one more. So I think they're going to be playing postseason basketball. Getting into the playoffs without having to play the play-in took a big hit last night. Now tonight, Memphis, who is not quite mathematically locked in but close to the 2 seed, is going to play everybody. Wouldn't it be nice, Mario, if we could say this all year long? Hey, who's playing tonight? Well, everybody's playing tonight. It's a game, right?
It'd be nice if we could ever see Ja versus Zion, ever, since they entered the league.
When's the last time? Or has there been even – there's been a few.
I think during the Stan Van Gundy year. We can look it up in a second. But I think during the Stan Van Gundy year a couple years ago.
Out of potential matchups, this is year 4. So out of the number of potential matchups, they have actually both been on the floor at the same time for, 20% of them?
Let's see. They faced off 6 times since they both came in the league. The last one being actually December 31st of this season, 2022.
And don't you play 6 times a year?
Yes.
Teams in your division? Okay,
4.
so – I'm sorry, 4 times a year?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 out of 16?
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit more than what I thought.
Not great.
They're 2 games clear of Sacramento for the 2 seed. They're 2 games shy of Denver for the 1 seed. The chalk is that they will stay right there in that 2 hole, but they're playing everybody. So here we go. Another very important game for the Pels tonight. LSU gets a win last night, 12-2 over Nichols. We were now another run rule game. We're now over 2 full games in run rules that have been eliminated from the schedule because LSU has outscored them by that much. Nichols had a winning record. We went through this yesterday. LSU's non-conference record shaping up way better than what it had looked like on paper at the beginning of the season. This is another indication of that. Nichols is 17-14 now with the loss. Gavin Dugas had 3 hits. Tommy White hit a pair of home runs, including one to straightaway center field. You just don't see a bunch of balls go straight out to center field at the box. The other one was another opposite field job. But what tremendous power that he's got. And Jared Jones hit one that I think they found under the bridge. It cleared pretty much the top of the scoreboard, it looked like to me in the dark. Anyway, they get all of those runs in the middle innings, and they beat Nichols 12-2. Now the offense was the good news: nine hits and 12 runs. The not so great was they sent Christian Little out there to throw 30 pitches and hopefully get them through the 2 innings. He came up one pitch short of that. Now there was a ball that might have gotten up in the wind a little bit that got down the left field line that maybe was a little bit unlucky for him. But right now they're auditioning guys for the 3-hole. And Little, I thought, was not terrible last night, but I was hoping that he would be able to finish that 2nd inning. The disappointing thing was Thatcher Hurd, and they knew that they were going to have to pull him out of that 3-hole in the weekend rotation. It's just a matter of who they're going to replace him with. I was hoping that moving him back into a midweek, go out, man, get 3 quick outs, get this, get your confidence back, get your mojo going a little bit, and then potentially try to work him in a relief role in the weekend. It was not a good outing at all. The 2 walks bother me more probably than the 2 hits, and I know that sounds crazy, but the walks have been his biggest problem. And if you're going to come in, you're in with a 6-run lead against Nichols at home on a Tuesday night in the middle innings. That's as low pressure a situation as I can put him in. And if you're going to go out there and you can't throw strikes in that situation, then I really got to question how much you can use him in any kind of key situations on the weekend right now. And when I say key situations, I'm not talking about a 1-run lead in the 9th. That's not his role right now. I'm talking about a 5-run lead in the 5th, and your starter's out of gas. Can you count on him for 30 to 45 pitches? And right now, the answer is no. I hope that changes because I think the talent is there. But he's simply walking too many people to be put into any kind of SEC situations right now. On the plus side, Gavin Guidry looked pretty good. Went out there and threw an inning in the 3rd and struck out 3. Really nice looking slider, I thought, last night. So that was good. And Bryce Collins had his best outing in a while. So those were even Micah Bucknam was throwing 95. In the last inning. We hadn't seen him pitch very much. You may see some of Guidry this weekend. His role has been limited in Southeastern Conference play, but you may see him a little bit more. So those are some thoughts coming out of last night's game. We'll take a break. Scott Rabelais from Augusta when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. Right now, they want to buy your vehicles, and this means that in less than 15 minutes when you walk into Infinity, you can get a quote on your vehicle. They'll buy it for cash. You can trade in on another model, or you can just get the information from you. There's no pressure to buy. You get into the certified pre-owned program like we did at our house just a few short weeks ago. You go in, and they're going with the large inventory they've got right now. They're going to be able to match you to age, mileage, price, all of the things that you are looking for in a vehicle. And that certified pre-owned program, the extensive trials that they put it through, the extensive inspections will lead to a 100,000 mile 6-year powertrain warranty. Roadside assistance is included. Your first year maintenance is included. Courtesy cars when you take your vehicle in to be serviced, all part of the service. Transparency in pricing and a down-home atmosphere at Acura Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
What's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the on Thursdays, OTB. We get you ready for the weekend as we preview a little LSU South Carolina. Also, we'll talk some LSU spring ball off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, golf tournament over in Georgia this week. We send Rabelais every year because somebody's got to do this. You know, Scott, this is your week at Augusta. So paint the picture for me there, and then we're going to talk about LSU women's basketball.
Well, you caught me in mid-pimento cheese sandwich, Charlie. Actually,
you knew I was going to call, right?
Oh no, I did, but I thought it would add to the atmosphere of our little chat.
Sure.
The par 3 contest is going on right now, and the tournament starts tomorrow. A lot of rain expected for the weekend, so that's a concern. But and there's been a lot of talk, of course, about the live golfers who are here, playing against all the PGA Tour guys. But it's the Masters as usual. Not quite as many flowers. They had an early spring too, like we did with everything bloomed in Baton Rouge. I think that happened here in Augusta too, but it's still the Masters. It's still going to be great. It's still one of the highlights of the sports here, as far as I'm concerned.
And we all love the Masters. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Of course.
Let's go back to Sunday. And you covered LSU women's basketball for a long time. You covered some of the great teams and some of the not so great teams. This one is now a historic team. So your biggest takeaways, and I mean, we could do a whole show just on this. So I know it's a pretty broad question, but your biggest takeaways from having watched LSU women's basketball as long as you had to watch them take the title on Sunday.
Well, I mean, just everybody keeps saying it, but when you really think about it, it's remarkable. I mean, going from 9 wins 2 years ago to national champions. I mean, this is just an incredible job that Kim Mulkey's done. Couldn't have been done if not for the era of the transfer portal and NIL and all those kind of things. I mean, she just wouldn't be able to build it up this fast. You knew it was virtually inevitable that she would, but that it happened so quickly, I think surprised everyone, including Kim Mulkey herself. As she said during the year, she didn't think it was too soon. And frankly, next year's team probably will be more talented. But you got to strike while the iron's hot, that they did. And LSU's had a lot of great teams, as you said. And I'm thinking, very much of the 33-3 team that went to number 1 in the country, that Kim Mulkey's Baylor team beat en route to their first national title. That was a team with Simone Augustus and Sylvia Fowles and Tamika Johnson. A team, Charlie, with 2 future Naismith Hall of Famers on it. I think we can all say with virtual certainty that Augustus and Fowles are going to be in the Naismith Hall of Fame one day. I don't know if this LSU team has 2 future Naismith Hall of Famers on it, though. Angel Reese might get there one day. But it was always for women's basketball at LSU a lot of very good, but never completely great. And they finally achieved complete greatness on Sunday with that win over Iowa, and it's monumental for the program and for LSU sports in general.
So for the program now, you brought up next year's team may be more talented, may not have as good a record. I'm assuming that the non-conference schedule is going to look quite a bit different than this year's did, and I'm also of the opinion that you're the defending national champion. There's a natural letdown, and there is a target on your back. It's why repeating is so difficult. So for Kim Mulkey welcoming in a very talented incoming group, you expect her to downplay it from the beginning next year the way she did this year?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, she's going to talk about repeating. She won 3 national titles at Baylor. They couldn't repeat. Remember, they went 40-0 with Brittany Griner. The next year, they got bounced from the Sweet 16, partially because of some problems with the Griner. It's tough. It's really hard. It's like repeating around this place. Only 3 men have done it. In this tournament, Nicholas Woods and Faldo. So it's hard to do. But for the reasons you listed, they're definitely going to play a tougher schedule. People are not going to be able to criticize their non-conference schedule next year. I hope, Charlie, that their non-conference schedule includes a game with Iowa somewhere. I really, really do. I think we'd all love to see these 2 teams play again.
Absolutely.
But this is the standard going forward for LSU women's basketball from now on. To expect that they're going to make runs in the tournament, that they're going to be contending for championships. I would be a little surprised, considering what South Carolina is losing, not knowing what they're going to get in the transfer portal, that if LSU is not the preseason favorite to win the SEC next year. But South Carolina's going to be up there too, and Tennessee's still going to be good, and some of these other teams as well. So as you said, the target only grows. The expectations only grow, and they're not going to come down. And I think if there's one negative to all this for Kim Mulkey, it's that the expectations are going to be so astronomical from now on over the rest of the time she's here at LSU. But it's better than people not wanting you to do well or expecting you to do well or demanding that you do well. So, there's that to consider as well.
Yeah, despite what she says publicly, we know what her expectations are internally for herself and for her team. So she's the last person I'm worried about going into next season. All right, let's turn attention to golf. You did a piece on Sam Burns, the former LSU golfer who won the match play at Austin a couple of weeks ago, is 40-1 to win his first major and, of course, his first Masters. You did a column on him. What kind of chance do you give Sam in this tournament?
You know, a few weeks ago, I would have said not too great because he just had been kind of having a mediocre start to the season. Then he tied for sixth at the Valspar, where he'd won twice in a row, and then he won the World Match Play against a very good field. Now, it's not exactly apples to apples, the tournament like the Masters and the World Match Play, because you're trying to beat one guy at a time instead of a whole field. But he beat some very good players, obviously, to do it. I mean, he beat his buddy Scotty Scheffler. The Burnses and the Schefflers are sharing a house together this week. I haven't been invited for dinner, but they are sharing a house.
Tremendous oversight, Rab. A tremendous oversight.
I know. I'm trying to get by. Then he mopped the course with Cameron Young in the final 6 and 5, which means he was 6 holes up with 5 holes to play. That's a rout. So suddenly he's playing well. He played here last year, missed a cut by 1 stroke. Doesn't have a great record in majors so far. His best finish is a tie for 20th at last year's PGA, but he has everything you would if you were to build a golfer to build me someone who can win a major. It would look very much like Sam Burns. He's tall. He hits the ball long. He's putting very well. He's ranked, as I said in the column, ranked way up at the top of the PGA Tour putting stats. Irons haven't been so great overall this year, and he's just got that temperament that he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, which is important because you're going to have frustrations at a difficult course like this. So I give him a shot. I don't think he's a favorite. Obviously, we know who the favorites are in this, the new big three: Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm by a lot. But he's not someone you would be totally shocked to see slipping in a green jacket on Sunday. And if not this week, then one day in the future. And if not this major, then another major. I think he's destined to win a major at some point in his career. And this could be the one as well as any.
You brought up those 3 favorites. They are the 3 of them are all below what you would normally see a favorite at a golf tournament go off at. McIlroy and Scheffler at plus 650, and Rahm is at plus 900. Now this is a shorter field, okay, than your regular weekly stop on the PGA Tour. But still, those are very, very short odds for favorites. So for Scheffler, you're trying to win 2 in a row. For McIlroy, you're trying to complete the career Grand Slam for, I think this is the 9th or 10th time, and Rahm's trying to win his first green jacket. So give me the case for the field against these 3.
Well, for Scheffler, it's just, as I said, difficult to repeat. Only 3 people have done it. You have a lot of distractions this week. You have to host the Champions Dinner. Everyone wants a piece of you. He's on the cover of Golf Digest. He's doing interviews. I mean, it's just hard. He didn't come in under the radar last year because he had won 3 times coming into this tournament. But it's just difficult, and it's a course that can be kind of capricious. You can get a bad wind gust on 12, and you're in Rays Creek, and there go your chances. For Rory, he's had lots, as you said, he's had lots of chances to complete the career Grand Slam. Only 5 men have done it. It's very hard to do, but he's trying to be the 6th. Tiger said he'll do it eventually, and Tiger should know, but he's still got to do it. It's just something always seems to get in Rory's way here. Last year he started from way too far back. He shot a 64 in the final round, but he was completely out of it, and he wound up second. But he's got to avoid the bad round that seems to always haunt him here. And Rahm was playing great. If the Masters was in February, I think Jon Rahm would be the favorite. But he has not played really great. He's not been on great form lately. He's got a couple of ties in the 30s and a missed cut or something like that in his last 3 starts. But not playing as great. But he's immensely talented. And of course, the Spaniards have a great history here with Seve and with Olazabal and with Sergio Garcia winning, and he could win, but not of those 3 favorites. He's the least favorite at this point. But all are, as you said, surprisingly short odds for golf. Anything under 10-1, I think, is pretty unusual. Under 15-1, probably, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I would say 10-12 for sure for the favorites most weeks. If I offered you, and I'm just asking for a friend, you understand? McIlroy, Scheffler, and Rahm anywhere from 6-1 to or 6.5 to 1 to 9 to 1, or I offered you Jason Day, Cam Smith, and Colin Morikawa anywhere from 24 to 25 to 1. Which group would you take?
I think Scheffler could win it again. I think I'm going to have to stick with the big three. Although Cam Smith, and it kind of pains me to say it because I'm not a fan of the Live Golf and what these guys are doing. And Cam Smith, of course, is one of those guys. But he won the British Open last year. And he played very well. He was in the final group with Scheffler last year. Here at the Masters, and he's very capable of winning. So is Morikawa, a two-time major champion. Who was the other one?
Jason Day, who is playing really, really well.
Jason Day's playing well. He's getting a lot of love. He's a better choice than Max Homa or Victor Hovland, which surprises me because he hasn't won on the tour in 5 years. But he's a tremendous golfer and a tremendous person. It would be a great story if he won. I'm rooting for the story, Charlie.
Well, then root for Jason Day because, we're rooting for Sam Burns, but root for Jason Day because that's as good a story as, I watched that guy collapse on the golf course, Scott. I was scared to death. In 2017, we were watching, I remember exactly where I was. We were in Omaha. We were between games at the College World Series. We're watching the golf tournament, which I believe was at Chambers Bay. Help me out here.
U.S. Open.
Yeah.
The U.S. Open.
And we're watching it without sound. We were at Barrett's, and we're just eating, having a cocktail and watching. And this guy falls out, and I was scared to death he'd hit a heart attack and died right there on the course. And he's fought back from that, some personal adversity, lost family members. He's a good story, and he's playing great golf right now.
He is, and it would be tremendous to see him win. He just seems like a very affable guy, and I would be happy for him to win. And I'm sure people are wondering about Tiger. Tiger is, like he would talk about catching lightning in the bottle. He did in 2019, but he had some good form coming in. With the car accident and everything, if it turns cold and wet this weekend, I just don't see. I could see him making the cut, but not contending, and I could see him withdrawing. Because of the weather conditions. It's just not going to play to his strength. So it would be a tremendous story if he won a 6-green jacket, but I don't see that happening in any form, unfortunately.
I thought Tiger was incredibly candid yesterday when he said, and everybody that's playing practice rounds with him backs this up, he can still hit every shot. He just can't walk that course for 72 holes in 4 days without it affecting him, very seriously affecting him physically. And you can speak to having to walk that course, Rab. I've never walked it, but everybody that walks it says, look, this is not an easy walk if you've got the amount of – it's not an easy walk, period, but certainly not if you got the amount of hardware. And Woods used that word yesterday. He said, the amount of hardware I got in my body now – it's just very difficult for me to walk 7,500 yards 4 days in a row on this contour and still hit all these shots.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy said watching him on the practice tee, he can still hit all the shots, and he does. He looks trim. He look for somebody, and who's also 47. He looks as good as you possibly could expect an athlete to look and to perform at this high level. And he has such great knowledge of the course. That goes a long way. I remember when he won in 2019. It was, if I may use the pun, masterful. He just let everyone implode around him while he just kind of he didn't shoot a great score, 69, just a very tidy round, efficient and not getting into trouble. And because he knows Augusta National so well, he's played here 25 times. But it's really hard. It's up and down and side tails, as he said a couple of times. The only flat places on this course are the 18 tee boxes, and that's absolutely true. So it's just too much to expect a miracle this year. Maybe one good round, or something like that. Maybe make the cut, but four rounds under the weather conditions that are expected, don't see it.
I think you can make the cut. I think that's
I do too.
That's a reasonable bet. If I can give you one guy outside of 30-1 to win this thing, besides Burns, who we're rooting for, I'm going to give you Sung J M at 33-1. Rab has a second place finish at Augusta. Course is suited to him a little bit from what I read. I'm no expert, but he's done it before in a big spot there. 33-1. Give me a little Sung J M, but I'm taking Day, Morikawa, and Smith against your Rahm, Scheffler, and McIlroy. Okay,
well that's a good bet. Sung J M is if you're looking for longer odds, you want to put a couple of bow down on him. He's good. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he plays a lot of golf, and he, I know a lot of, the one thing you say about the Asian golfers, they're very dedicated and they work very hard, at the game, and it seems like I wonder if he's the guy who lives. Is he the guy? I'm trying to remember, who just doesn't really have a home. He just lives from golf tournament to golf tournament. That kind of thing.
I don't know what he does in his spare time or where he lives. I've just watched him play golf, and he's really, really good. How's that?
Really, really
and I've
good.
seen him play really good there too. So you're looking for a shot. Sung J.M. at 33-1.
I would say Victor Hovland, because I think he's the guy who will break through and win a major one day, and former U.S. amateur champion. But M is. I can't argue with you there.
I'm waiting for Hovland to pop that top 5 in a major. It just seems like he's got plenty of game. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just in the majors, it hasn't materialized for him yet. But he's got a lot of time. Rab, we always appreciate it. Enjoy the tournament. We'll get a recap next week.
Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Scott Rabelais from The Advocate. We'll take a break, come back. First class, second class, no class is next. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's. We got some fun stuff coming up here. Swamp Pop Jitterbug lessons on Thursday. Mario's really rounding into form here. And DJ K-Jack on stage after that. The Jitterbug lessons start at 6. DJ K-Jack at 7. On Friday, live music from Ernest Scott. And on Saturday, the Chris LeBlanc Band is back at Big Mike's. Live music every weekend at Big Mike's. You are closed for Easter Sunday, but you can get your ball crawfish between now and then. The prices come down some, and $5.99 a pound, plus your 3-pound plates have corn and potatoes are included in that. Happy hour drink. And by the way, every day starting at 11 o'clock for your ball crawfish. Happy hour drink prices from 3 until 7, Monday through Friday, and on every Sunday. But this Sunday starting at 11 o'clock all day. Located on Aspen in Denham Springs, Big Mike's, we're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd
at the Oshner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Oshner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at Front to Back Boat Service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front to Back Boat Service.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile.
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Thursday edition of Hanny Time. We recap the Pels against the Grizzlies, plus we look ahead to the Monster Series between LSU and South Carolina. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannigrove on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hanny Time. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class. Second class. No class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
First class should be pretty predictable when you do something for the first time and you do something that you're not expected to do in the time period that you're expected to do it in. The LSU women's basketball team made history on Sunday. We've spent, the last couple of days talking about it. There's going to be a parade tonight. There's going to be a victory celebration tonight. The parade starts at the music school and goes down to the Assembly Center, and then at 7 o'clock the celebration starts. So for that team, for that coaching staff, for the entire fan base, especially those, I said this going into, I forgot what day it was, but there is a loyal core of LSU women's basketball fans. It has obviously grown, but I'm talking about the ones that were there for Simone, were there for Angel, and were there for everything in between. And a lot of that in between, it wasn't always a whole lot of fun at times. So for those fans, for these players, for Alexis Morris, who had the journey of all journeys, for Jasmine Carson, who had the game of her life in the biggest game of her life, for Angel Reese, who set a record for double-doubles, and for everybody else on that team, that LaDasia Williams, who came up so big in the NCAA tournament for them, for Bob Starkey, who came back to LSU after some time away, who's been on the men's staff, the women's staff, who's been to Final Fours, who's been an assistant, who was the acting head coach at a previous Final Four, for all of them, and of course for Kim Mulkey. Congratulations, you are unanimous first class. We voted. Everybody voted. It was an easy vote. Second class, good with a chance to be great. I am not going to, for 1 second, pretend to be a golf expert, but I know I watched the Masters since I was a kid. Okay, I think everybody that watches the Masters every year has even if you've never been, and I've never been, has a pretty decent understanding of at least the back nine, because for a long, long time you never saw the front nine on television, but the back nine, I think you know where the par fives are at 13 and 15, and you know that 16 is the par three that has got the kind of the funnel. We call it the funnel position with the pin on Sundays, so you see a hole in one there. I think we all know what 18 at Augusta looks like. Having to split the trees to put it in the fairway and then coming home. So I think if you know it, you know that 13 and 15 are those holes where they're both par fives. You can see a lot of birdies and some eagles. Well, this is good with a chance to be great. I don't even know if it's good with a chance to be great. It's just a chance to be different. They've lengthened number 13. And to get there in 2, which is what Bobby Jones intended. I read all of this, folks. I'm not going to pretend to be a golf expert, okay? I did my research on this. This looks compelling to me. They added 35 yards to number 13. It's going to make it harder to get there in 2. Now, why do I put this in second class? Well, is this going to make this hole more exciting? Is this going to make going for 2 that much more treacherous? more risk reward, or is this going to turn this into a layup fest? Because if it turns it into a layup fest, move it back, because some of the most exciting decisions that we've seen at Augusta come on 13 and 15 when, can you make a big move? Jones designed a very nice golf course here with a lot of risk reward to it. So the 13th hole, Azalea, going to 545 yards. Is this going to mean a lot more exciting golf, or is this going to mean a lot of people laying up on 13? That's why I put it in second class. We want to see. So number 13 at Augusta goes in second class this week. No class, I got a list, so bear with me. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on any one of them. But let me start with this one. Mario, I texted you as all of these things happened, so you would not let me forget over the course of the week. Okay, so the first thing is, I don't know when they started this. I don't know whose idea this was, but interviewing players coming off the court at halftime is a lousy idea. They did this in the women's Final Four. This is a lousy idea for a lot of reasons, okay? Number one, these players are tired. They are – I mean, the 45 seconds to a minute you're stopping is what, 10% of what they get to rest, or 5%. Whatever it is, they need it all. I mean, this is the Final Four. I don't need another cliche, which is all they're going to offer you at that point. What do you think you're going to get from Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese or Elizabeth Kitley coming off the court? Well, you know what? We were in a zone right there, but what we're going to do in the second half is we're going to go to a box and one because we think that'll – I mean, what are you going to get here? Same thing you get out of the coaches. Well, that player is hurting us, and we should guard her more closely. I'm over the in-game coaches' interviews, have been for a long time, but the players, to me, that's a step too far. This is a championship game. Let them get in the locker room. Let them get off their feet for a minute. Let them talk about whatever adjustments they're going to make. They don't need to spend a minute and a half clicheing with the sideline reporter. I'm sorry. It aggravated me because I'm watching these girls come off the court and they're exhausted. Every ounce of energy they got is going in there, and they got to stop and talk now? No. Okay? So stop doing that. 8:20 start time. Here's the old man get off my lawn deal. Why are you starting games, the championship game at 8:20 on a Monday night? Even the football game starts before that. Why? Okay, I understand why Monday night, and that's been a tradition for a long time, and I'm fine with that. Are you looking to give people a reason to turn this off? Because on the East Coast at 10 o'clock, which is when a lot of people go to bed, not everybody, but a lot of people go to bed at 10 o'clock, you have a game that's a runaway. A lot of them ain't sticking around. And I think you saw that. The ratings for the women's game outdistanced the ratings for the men's game. Now, you had a great game for the women's game. You had a lousy game for the men's game, even with the point spread differential. I understand LSU won the game by 17. But 8:20 start time. Stop. Move this back, okay? Let's start at a reasonable hour. It's not that I can't stay up past 10 o'clock. I'm not that old, okay? But you're not helping the game by starting it that late. The referees in the women's final, okay? Honestly, I would like to be in the meeting when the supervisor of officials goes through their game tape. And I hope there's somebody with some common sense in there that says, you know what? In a championship game, we don't have to call every touch foul. It's a physical game. There's going to be some contact. Nobody came to see you three officiate this game. Your job is to keep the game moving and to keep it from getting out of hand. I don't need these ticky-tack little technical fouls. I don't need these ticky-tack touch fouls. I don't need any of that. You're not increasing my enjoyment of the game. You're doing nothing more than putting the players I want to see on the bench. If I were the czar of basketball for a day, pro, college, men's, women's, high school, the first thing I would do is say, I'm abolishing the foul-out rule. As radical as that sounds, you can no longer foul out of a game. If you have a foul past 5, it's a tech. It's 2 shots in the ball. But if you want to stay in the game, go ahead and stay in the game. I don't want to see this. Could you imagine if an NFL player had 2 penalties or 3 penalties in the game and they were like, Okay, 2 intentional groundings on Patrick Mahomes. He's got to go to the bench. He can't play anymore. Come on. I want to see the players play. I don't want to see you officiate. So much as I hate talking about officiating, they get a no class too. And then finally, and this is, I spent 45 seconds talking about this on Monday. It's 45 seconds more than I wanted to spend talking about this on Monday. And this is going to be the absolute last you hear from me on this. Anybody who has never watched a women's basketball game in their life that came into this and now all of a sudden has an agenda and are screaming at the top of their lungs about anything, shut up and go away. Because I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to hear from you. Okay? It's a great game, highly competitive, plenty to discuss there. If you came in with an agenda that has nothing to do about basketball, you got no class. Now I'm done. Take a break. Come back, wrap things up here. Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. So many different ways that you can enjoy Supreme Rice. And maybe over this holiday weekend, you'll be doing some of that. Great pair with seafood on Good Friday. If you're observing Lent, we're going to get into festival season here, pretty much already into festival season. So your jambalayas, your red beans, make it with Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers down in Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. All of our Supreme Rice grown, milled, and processed in Southwest Louisiana. So whether it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine, pick up Supreme Rice wherever you shop for rice at all your AG food stores, your Walmart neighborhood stores, and your Rouses. For more information, some unique recipes, go to the website at SupremeRice.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd.
At the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Ochsner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
All right.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Service Chevrolet and the law offices of O.C. Brown. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Mario, you have a Zion update. An update on the update?
Yes. Will Guillory of The Athletic, pretty in tune with Pelican stuff, says that he would expect an update on Zion to come tomorrow, not today, like the team had told us.
Today's update has been postponed until tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, they could have said 2 weeks. I mean, do you really think he's going to come back?
I think he is. I think they're going to try to. I mean, they're showing that they want their best player available in the postseason.
I want him available too, but is he really available?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to think he is. I mean, that's a long time to recover, even with the re-aggravation of the injury. But I do agree with you. It's certainly interesting to put him in right when the playoffs start and when the intensity is going to ratchet up.
Guy hadn't played a game in 3 months. Yeah. This is it's risky. Taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work. All right, let's go watch a little bit of the par 3 because it's always a fun time, and the Masters will be underway by the time we get to you tomorrow. Pels and the Grizz tonight at the Blender. Mega important game for New Orleans, obviously. And then tomorrow night, LSU and South Carolina get underway. Thursday, Friday, Saturday series is all but one in the league or this week. The Baseball at the Box podcast will drop probably within the hour. You can get that at 1045ESPN.com. For Jacob and Mario, I'm Charles Hannegriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think